Today we are working on Unit 5, Lesson 10, pages 249 through 250. And you will recognize these pages because it's the cute little kitties on one side, and you probably recognize those puppies on the other side. So I asked a question about those dogs a couple weeks ago, and now the data is available to you in Seesaw. So you will be able to solve this problem in Seesaw. We will do it together in a little while, but first we're going to go ahead and start with our check-in on what time it is. Just like always, you will write the time in the chat. I will pause this video while I'll get about 8 of you or more to put the time in the chat, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. What time is it? Pause. All right, friends, it is 4:50. So if we look, this one's a trickier one. If we look, I'm just going to go ahead and use my little sticky note. Look at that. It's still in the time zone of 4, and we can count by 5s all the way around the clock. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. If you got this one right, go ahead and put a gold star on your forehead. Bing! Nice job, friends. Okay, next one. I will pause after I show it to you and wait for about 8 of you or more to put the time in the chat before I unpause the video. What time is it? All right, friends, let's take a peek. 10:45. Boy, these are tough ones today. If you're getting these, you are doing great. So let's once again look at that hour hand. Is it at the 11 yet, or is it still in the hour of 10? It's in the hour of 10 still. And if we count all the way around, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And it is 10:45. Okay, last one. What time is it? Go ahead and type it in chat while we're paused. I assume that a lot of you guys got this one really fast. It's 1:30. We know when that minute hand is pointed straight down at that 6 that it is 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And look at that. It is still in the hour of 1. It would need to be all the way over here to be at 2. Nice work, my friends. Alrighty, so let's look at these kitties now. So everybody should have this paper out and ready to go. Math and pets. Mrs. Pratt asks the children in her class to tell which kitten they think is the cutest of these 4 kittens. So we will pause for just a moment to have like a 2-minute conversation about which kittens are the cutest, because we have to talk about this. All right, even though we have opinions about which cats are the cutest, we are talking about Mrs. Pratt's class this time. So let's go ahead and count up. How many kids think that this cat is the cutest? Go ahead and unmute yourself and say it. All right, so we're going to write that number at the end here. 6 people think Fluffy's the cutest. How many people think Mink is the cutest? Unmute yourself and just say it one time. All right, 4 people think that Mink is the cutest. What about Odin? How many people think Odin is the cutest? Unmute yourself and say it once. Nine people. Nice work. You guys can count. We know this. How many of you are looking at this and going, that's 5 and 1? like you're noticing the groupings. If you're noticing that, that's you really using your brain. So how many think Simba's the cutest? All right, we've got 6 people think Simba's the cutest. All right, so which kitten do you think is the cutest is the name up here. So we have the same title down here at the bottom, but I don't want to write all of that. I'm just going to write cutest, and we're writing it spelled correctly as much as we can. Cutest kitten. And then, what are we going to write here on the side here? Go ahead and raise your hand. I will pause and call on somebody to answer. Yes, we're going to put the names of the cats down there. So we're going to go in the same order, and there is no excuse for spelling these wrong. It is right there. So go ahead and take a moment and write each of the names of the cats right there. You have to write kind of small to fit it all on there. Please let me know if you need more time. We will pause the video if you need more time. All right, so moving forward, now we need to label these little blue lines. What are those for again? Go ahead and unmute yourself and tell me, Delaney. All right, let's go ahead and start with what number goes here. Unmute yourself and say it. All right, you start with 0 and just write each number. I think that you guys are probably experts at this point. What kind of graph are we making? We're making a bar graph. We're not making a picture graph. So go ahead and fill in this graph the rest of the way. So you're going to put 6 for Fluffy, 4 for Mink, 9 for Odin, and 6 for Simba. If you have questions, please ask, and I'll pause the video before we move on to the next part. All right, so now that you're finished with this side, we're going to go and now we're going to look at the data that we collected in our class. The data is in Seesaw. So go over to Seesaw and look at the assignment there. The assignment will tell how many kids in our class picked Romy, how many picked Parker, how many picked Domino, and how many picked Bernie. Write each of those numbers in these rows here. So you're going to make a bar graph. On our math board, we can't do that. Okay, so we're going to change this a little bit. What we're going to do instead, because we don't have math boards since we're distance learning, we're just going to very carefully make this into a graph. Boy, I didn't read that very carefully, did I? So we want to make sure that we have enough squares here. And if you run out of room, you can even add more on the end here. You can extend that if you need more. I'm recording this lesson before I have the data. So what I would suggest you do instead is you write the number, the total for each of our students under each of those animals, and then you can graph them. Of course, we're going to start at 0. Whew. Got all those numbers that I was able to squeeze in there. And then number 3, so after you finish that, you need to make sure and ask that question. It's tricky, a 2-step problem. So you have to solve one problem before the other. You have a grown-up who is available to support you with this. So get to work making this graph and writing a question about it. When you're finished, I want to see a picture of this side and this side on Seesaw, and I will look at them very soon. Thank you, friends.